Do you think you've said it before, I think, that entrepreneurship isn't for everybody? That's another like trope that you see is that like anybody can do it, anybody can build a company, anybody can, have this type of success. I'm kind of torn on this one because I do think that in the right circumstance with the right mindset, a lot of people can do a lot more than they think they can. I just don't know that it is for everyone in terms of like just what's all actually involved. It's a lot more gritty behind the scenes than what it looks like on social media.
I'll tell you that 5 years ago, when I first started, recording my podcast and writing on the internet, I thought everybody should buy a business. I was screaming at the top of my lungs that the only way to get wealthy is to buy a business, which I still believe for the most part. The only way to get outsized wealth is to build or buy a company. But I thought that everybody should do it. Like this is something that everybody should do. Man, I've completely changed my mind on that. I think you can build an amazing life working for somebody. I think a lot of concepts in the sweaty startup can work for somebody who has a job and wants to make more money. But I also think it's been an eye opener for me over the last 5 years to just see how incompetent the average person is when it comes to making decisions. And I don't say that to put myself on a pedestal or say that I'm different. I make a lot of mistakes as well. But the average human is, you know, divorced, overweight, and doesn't have $500 in their checking account, and they leave a wake of destruction in every relationship in their life. So how can they, run an organization and make those decisions all day? It's just not. It's not at all feasible. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Well, and it's just like that's the one end of the spectrum, and it is probably like an average. There's quite a few people in that boat. There's a lot of other people that are just like good at things that aren't the skill sets that it requires to be entrepreneurial. I mean, I think one of the things is there's so much. I use the word uncertainty, but it's really like it's a choose your own adventure book, and you have to kind of wake up and be like, all right, here's all the things I could do today. You have to high grade what those things are that are the most effective that you should be doing. You then actually have to execute on those things. I mean, you have to deal with all that uncertainty. And I think some people, like, they just can't compute. Like, if you're an accountant, you want to go in, sit in a spreadsheet, you want to have your deadlines every week. And those people are critical. Like, we need them. But for me, like, I can never be that person. And I think there is just a certain personality type that you have to be able to deal with that uncertainty and kind of steer the ship.
I want to talk about sales because I'm super passionate about that. But I was in a meeting with one of the high performers at one of my companies earlier this week. It's Thursday, Monday morning. He's a stud. Like he is super talented, adds an amazing amount of value to my company, and he is one of the people at my company that I cannot afford to lose. And I was in a meeting with him, and it's our annual review, and we're like, okay, how much money you want to be making? What do you want to be doing? And I just straight up asked him, I'm like, look, man, like me and Dan are doing a lot of things. We're still, you see, we're still in the trenches operationally in this company, but like, do you see yourself running this business someday? Like, is that a goal of yours? Like, is this something we should keep in the back of our mind? And he thought about it and he said, no. He's like, absolutely not. I love my work and I think I'm good at it. And I love finishing my day knowing that I added value and I like winning and I like the structure of it. But I don't eat, sleep, and breathe this like you do. Like I care about other things outside of work. And one thing I don't like is dealing with people problems. Like I don't want people to come to me asking for raises. I don't want people to come to me when there's drama inside the business or they're not happy. I don't want customers or investors or whoever to come after me if things aren't going well. So no, I don't want to be the CEO of this business someday. And that is a mistake I made very early on as an entrepreneur. Is I assumed everybody thought like me. I assumed all my employees, they wanted to be their own boss. They wanted a dynamic work environment. They didn't want to be told what to do all the time. As I evolve as a business person, I realized that structure is very healthy inside of an organization, and almost all employees want to be told how to win, and they want the big problems to go to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, even like between entrepreneurs, I think people have different goals and objectives. Like I've met people that are in the very, very high net worth category that are like these, they eat, live, breathe it. And the one trait that I've noticed, and it's not all of them, but the main trait I've noticed is there are people that are very discontent, like all the time. Like they're discontent with everything. And it's like they're never happy. And that's like what's driven them. It's like if you hit the sales target, they want the sales target 20% higher. If you achieve the exit, they want another exit that's 10x bigger. And so they're just people that are kind of like sort of, I mean, I don't want to say miserable, but that's like part of their personality is that they like are always discontent.
It's irrational optimism too, man. Like I have irrational optimism. I think everything is gonna be 10 times easier than it turns out to be.
Well, you got to have some of that. I mean, there's, or you wouldn't start a lot of things because you would, if you knew, it's like what was the CEO of Nvidia? He was kind of like, if I knew what I knew now of how hard this is going to be, he's like, I don't know. I mean, he's like, if I would have done everything at the beginning that I've done,
And he's
and I
won
think,
the game, dude. He's won the game. Like he built one of the biggest, most successful companies in the history of the world. It's really powerful when it comes from a guy like that.
yeah, and I think that there's other entrepreneurs, and I don't, you kind of find yourself in the journey, and I think you evolve, but like, there's other guys I know that like have made a ton of money and done well and have successful businesses, but they're not driven to be like a billionaire. They're kind of like, I am good at what I do. There's like this level of getting back to the beginning where it's like how much stress, how much effort, how much risk. And I think you can evolve over time. And some of that depends on like if you've already had some success, it's like, well, maybe I don't need to risk everything now anymore. Maybe I can, get some base hits and I'm happy with this. It just depends on like what your objectives are. Do you feel like you change as you've gone through this stuff, or do you feel like it's been pretty consistent, like your attitude towards your longer term goals are?
Yeah, I have so many things that I want to say because I'm so passionate about this, but I think there's a common theme in my life and life of most successful entrepreneurs, and many of whom are way more successful than I am, of just like constantly being uncomfortable. Constantly. As soon as we get comfortable, the ambition starts to kick in. We don't feel like there's enough balls in the air. We don't feel like we're getting enough feedback on the decisions we're making, and we take on something new, or we take a little chance, or we start another company, or whatever it might be. And also just like nobody's ever going to give you permission to do any of this stuff. So if you're sitting back and you're a little bit insecure, like nobody's ever going to tell you, hey, Nick, this is a no-brainer. There's no reason why this is going to fail. This is going to be great. You There's no reason not to do this. Nobody's ever going to say that. I didn't have permission to fill a 70,000 square foot warehouse full of, 50,000 boxes in Boston and hire college kids to drive 25 box trucks around. Anybody who would have told me to do that at 23 years old would have just called me crazy. Same with building the real estate private equity business. I couldn't even get an internship at a real estate private equity company with my background, let alone build a private equity company. Same with the Somewhere acquisition. It's just constant theme across all entrepreneurs. You have to give yourself permission. And I know so many people who make phenomenal money in this world simply because they're not insecure. Frankly, some of them are just below average people, below average intelligence, not that smart, not that good at decision makers, but they make phenomenal money simply because they're not insecure. So if there's one trait that entrepreneurs share, it's that ambition, it's that sense of urgency, but it's also just that almost delusional confidence at times.
Self belief, you have to have that. I mean, it takes a level of delusional confidence, and I think that that is a part of it where, I mean, if you don't believe, then no one else is going to believe, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to not just sell yourself, but often you have to sell your peers, the people who are trying to get to work for you, your investors, whoever it may be. So like it kind of starts with that belief, because if you don't have that, then no one's going to follow you, no one's going to invest in you. It's just going to be a challenge, and I think that where people get in trouble is if they take too big of a leap too early. It's like you got to have delusional self-belief, but then you got to also like leg your way into things and figure it out as you go. And that's always my advice to someone trying to start something. I'm like, start small. If you really like this business idea and you've never done it, I'm like, look for a public equity and buy it in that same, industry, and study everything about it and watch it go up and down and do like something really small at first. I'm not saying analysis paralysis, but like if you've got no experience but a ton of confidence, like figure out a way to get into it where it doesn't like destroy you.
I just
Because